The December jobs report is out, and it shows U.S. hiring remains resilient, even as the country braces for a looming recession.
Yeah, here are some of the numbers for you to take a look at. Employers added a solid 223,000 jobs last month. The unemployment rate fell to 3.5%. Look, green and on your screen sounds like good news, but it may also be a sign the Federal Reserve may need to take further actions to slow growth and cool the economy.
So let's bring in CBS News reporter Sarah Ewall-Wice to talk more about this new data. Hi there, Sarah. So while job growth remains strong right now, we are seeing a dip in wages. What does that say about the country's overall economic health?
You know, what we're seeing is really still the tale of two economies where inflation is still much too high, even though it has eased some since last year. But we are still seeing a strong jobs market. These numbers, obviously, they're down very slightly from the number of jobs added in November, but still strong and above what was expected by economists. We also did see the unemployment rate tick down to 3.5% from 3.7%. That comes as labor force participation ticked up ever so slightly. But we really are in a moment of extreme economic uncertainty. The Fed has been raising rates throughout all of last year. They come into this year, we're expecting them to continue raising rates. That could boost unemployment back up slightly as they go through the year. And we got the minutes from the Fed meeting. They don't expect to lower interest rates throughout at any point in 2023. So we're expecting the interest rates to remain high for some time, and that could force some companies to continue to back off with hiring, to let things cool down now as we need to make inflation come back down to the targeted 2%. The Fed target.
And one thing you've mentioned and other analysts have mentioned is that there's a lag period between when the Fed actually increases interest rates and when it shows that it's biting in the economy. So perhaps we just have to wait and see with much of this. How is the White House, though, reacting to these new numbers, considering it's both good and bad news, depending on where you might be in the economy?
Well, the White House really welcomed these numbers because we can continue to see the job growth. Keep in mind, last year, in 2021, the economy added 6.7 million jobs. Last year, it was 4.5 million jobs. The White House touting those numbers as the two strongest jobs added years on record. So that is very good news. The 3.5 unemployment rate, that is basically a 50-year low that we're seeing in terms of unemployment. But the White House obviously has not backed off the fact that they believe that inflation is still too high as well. They, of course, leave the Fed to do its job independent of the White House. But they're really embracing these numbers, touting the number of manufacturing jobs added during the Biden administration at 750,000. So good news on that front. Of course, there are other factors here at play, and so there is uncertainty moving forward. But all in all, the jobs report specifically released this morning was good news for the Biden administration.
So, Sarah, how does all of this reflect what's happening in the tech industry? Because manufacturing is one thing. Tech industry, as we know, has seen so many layoffs, many companies announcing layoffs this year.
Yes, you know, just earlier this week, Amazon announced 18,000 layoffs expected this year. So what we're seeing is there was a ton of hiring in the tech sector throughout the pandemic. And so they're kind of coming off of this rapid hiring as people were working from home, folks were staying home, folks were buying things from home. It was a very different type of economy that we saw over the past few years, and that is now cooling as we come out of the pandemic. At the same time, for many companies, tech companies specifically, like Facebook or Meta and Amazon, we've seen revenue start to cool. For Meta specifically, when they announced they're laying off thousands of workers, they talked about that their ad revenue is down and shopping is down. So there's a lot going on here in the tech world after a major shift during the pandemic and uncertainty moving forward into 2023 and how things in the economy will pan out. I think overall there is some hesitancy. The Fed expects that the unemployment rate will go back up to 4.6% in 2023.
All right. Let's see how it all plays out. Sarah Ewall-Wice, thank you so much. Exactly. Shrug emoji. Appreciate you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.